We're the oldest continually operating studio in the United States.
Stained glass was started when the peasants couldn't read. The true stained glass window was created to teach them their Bible stories. William Coulter started the studio in Cincinnati, and he took on a partner named Finnegan.
They sent for G.C. Riordan from Ireland because he was a noted glass artist. And G.C. ended up buying the studio, and it was called Riordan Studios. In 1955, John Riordan, who succeeded G.C., heard of Walter. Walter was from Austria. He was slated to be in a concentration camp when he was a teenager. And to save him, they ended up putting him in a stained glass monastery studio that dated back to the 15th century. So Walter traveled all over Europe learning the trade. Riordan heard of him, and Riordan sent for him to come to the United States. I owned Beauverre Studios for 20 years, and every time I went to quote a big job, Walter was there to quote against me. There was a job that Walter was doing in Cincinnati, and his wife called and said, "Is there any chance you could help us finish this? Walter is sick." When the job was finished, Walter's wife asked, "Is there any chance you could carry the studio on?" So we merged the studios. That's how we became known as Beauverre Riordan Studios. Beauverre was my studio. Beauverre is French for beautiful glass. The impossible task was he had 25,000 pounds of glass that had to be moved. But the most rewarding for me was the archives. They had over 400 watercolors. That's one of my prized possessions of the whole career, is the watercolors. What they are is a true representation to the client or church of what the window was going to look like. I started in my basement, self-taught, and I continued working my job at GE and doing the stained glass. And after a while, I was doing both of them 40 hours. So I said, what if I opened a studio and got somebody to run it during the day?
We teach classes, we do restoration, new work, we repair, we sell finished product, we sell glass and lead to make product. There were people that came to us and said, we would really love to help restore this building because this was like part of everybody's lives when they were growing up. This is where, when they were building the Miami Canal, it's where the canal builders lived. And after the 1913 flood, we're real close to the Miami River here, came through it, devastated everything. After that, a man that owned a department store here took this and turned it into John Ross store. And then G.C. Murphy's bought this and turned into a five and dime store. Jay wanted it to look like the old studio when Riordan had it.
So it starts out with a rough sketch.
I think that people that order art glass from us or stained glass, it's something personal.
I always want to make a site visit, whether it be to the church or your home, and see what your tastes are and colors. Then we'll do a finished drawing. Then you have the opportunity to come and see the full-size drawing.
We cut all the glass, and on the pattern we make sure all the glass fits within each piece, and then we start leading. The only surprise I think we have for people is we said, do you want a stained glass window or an art glass window? So that's always confusing to people because everybody calls everything stained glass. If we're doing a figural window, it's going to be a stained glass window because we will actually take a paint or a stain and apply it to the glass to create faces and hands, and that's a true stained glass window. Where art glass, the glass comes so it's already colored and we cut it up. So obviously the stained glass is going to be much more expensive because it's all hand done. These windows were put in the 50s. Different panels put together makes one big window in their church. So we literally have bringing those back here, and we start disassembling them. We have to make up our own pattern. We put them under water, because back years ago, they used to put red lead in the putty that holds everything together. So we don't breathe that or get it in the air. We take them apart, we clean them, and then we start reassembling them. We aren't actually cutting all the glass because it's already cut. We're just putting it back together, re-leading it, soldering it, puttying it, and cleaning it. Cleaning takes forever on a stained glass window.
We're such advocates for downtown that we got to meet everybody that loves Middletown.
We give tours and we tell people the history of the building, the history of the studio, the history of the windows, and teach them what they're looking at. And there's something very inspirational about when the sun comes through a piece of glass, how it makes you feel. It makes people feel all warm and fuzzy, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful.